Welcome back to the Bud Light Southern Power Poll here on SouthernPigskin.com. Jim Johnson, Ben Troop. Ben, this is our first major action after the voting came in following last week. There's a new number one. And I had been kind of campaigning for this, but I hadn't really had a reason yet to make the call, and no one else. Yeah, I think all you guys agreed. As far as Clemson, Alabama goes, a lot of us thought that maybe if they played right now, Alabama would win the matchup.
Possibly.
But just given what we had seen, there was no reason to move Clemson down. Now, I don't know that Clemson gave us any reason to move them down.
True.
But the way that Alabama dominated South Carolina, for the most part, I think, was enough reason for me and clearly for the rest of the panel to make Alabama the new number one.
What I saw from Alabama was a young defense that let's give South Carolina a lot of credit. They was able to move the ball on Alabama. Wasn't able to get into the end zone. I mean, was in the red zone, I think 3 or 4 times, only came away, with maybe like 3 points. And this comes down to the play of the quarterback. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Trevor Lawrence right now. He's still Trevor Lawrence. Nobody believes in Trevor Lawrence more than B.J. Bennett. No matter what he does, you're giving him the benefit of the doubt. Seems to be throwing the ball to the other team a lot and a lot of drop picks, but Tua has been balling, getting the ball out of his hands, getting the ball to the receivers. I'm sorry, to the running back when you look at what they was able to do in the game. But yeah, I think Alabama as a team is playing better, but definitely at the quarterback position. So Alabama being number one, have no problem with it.
I feel like we can talk about this a little bit because, and again, this is all relative, right? These are unassailably the 2 best teams in college football.
Absolutely.
They certainly were last year. And while we are nitpicking, it's nitpicking when you're talking about weaknesses. It's comparative weaknesses.
Yes.
Both of these teams have had little things that you can pinpoint. I think for Alabama, it's offensively the running game. And granted, South Carolina's front 7 is very talented.
Very good.
Probably a first-round pick in Javon Kinlaw, maybe
Yes.
another one in DJ Wanham. And then defensively up the gut, where they're starting 3 true freshmen. DJ Dale, and then the 2 inside linebackers. And then with Clemson, you mentioned Trevor Lawrence. There's only one quarterback in college football that's thrown more interceptions so far this season than Lawrence. He's tied for second in picks. And while I still think he's great, I would still not bet against Trevor Lawrence. That is worrisome.
Yeah, and the thing about Trevor Lawrence is this. I mean, people keep talking about, but people are going to give him the benefit of the doubt of what he did last year going 15-0. Well, he had some help for the first 4 games of the year, needed some help from his backup to get that big W against Syracuse. But when you get comfortable and when you have T. Higgins and Ross and those guys, I would definitely, be willing to, say my guys are better than your guys. But some of those balls are 50-50 balls, and some of them are just bad reads. But I will say this. When you look at what Trevor Lawrence brings to the table, doesn't lack confidence, only going to get better, going to be able to shore up those mistakes. But I just think as a whole, it goes back to what I was saying. This Alabama team is coming. We forget the fact that they're starting linebackers out for the year, and they playing with some young guys at the linebacker position. And number 24, I don't want to say his name wrong, the outside linebacker for Alabama that's supposed to be the freak this year.
For Alabama?
For Alabama, the outside linebacker. Outside linebacker kind of defensive end. I think he's number 24. I think he tore his ACL last year.
Oh, it's Terrell Lewis?
Oh, my God. Listen, if he can become who they hope he's supposed to become, he's going to be the next great one. But I just think that you are nitpicking when you talk about Alabama and Clemson. Alabama is number 1 this week. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence be checking out these power polls. If he does, he'll get back to they're not going to lose a game, but I mean he'll definitely get back to his dominant ways.
And moving on down the list, I wanted Georgia at 3. I was outvoted. LSU will hold there at 3. They play on the road at Vanderbilt this week. That leaves Georgia at 4, hosting Notre Dame.
Listen, the thing about Georgia, once again, Georgia could be at number 3. LSU is over Georgia because of who they played, not how they played. If you watch Georgia play, they playing that old school smash mouth football. That offensive line, they're not just as big as advertised. They're not just as skilled as advertised. They are as good as advertised. The best offensive line in the country. They run the ball on first down, run the ball on second down. They run the ball on every down, and sometimes they'll let Jake Fromm go out there and show I can still throw the football. But yeah, LSU should be number 3 right now with what Joe Burrow's doing, playing at what top 5 nationally as far as like what he's doing throwing the football. And look, if Georgia got to go from 3 to 4, just like Alabama went from 2 to 1 and Clemson went from 1 to 2, we're talking about 3 or 4 of maybe the 6 top teams in the country, which have to be our top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on down, while Georgia Notre Dame is the marquee matchup of the weekend, I'm also really looking forward to seeing our number 5 team take on our number 7 team with Auburn going to Texas A&M.
Man, listen, Kellen Mond. Will Will Kellerman please stand up? I mean, Bo Nix is a guy that's, true freshman. They're trying to protect him. But if Kellerman goes out there and play halfway decent, I think Texas A&M going to be a hard out. I know the last time we saw Kellerman, playing Clemson, did not play well at all for 4 quarters. I was like, who is this Kellerman guy? I heard a lot about him. I know he's good enough to go out there and make it happen. But Bo Nix, we're going to learn a lot about this young guy, man. Been playing well, but I'm looking forward to both of those teams getting out there.
And your boys got a win last week. They hold at 6, but in some ways took a big loss in losing Felipe Franks, who I guess is out for the season.
Yeah, Felipe Franks, man, the heart and soul of the team. I mean, went out there in a gruesome leg injury. He's going to be out for the season. Kyle Trask was able to get in there and kind of complete the comeback in the fourth quarter. Both him as well as the defense played well. Looking forward to see a heavy dose of Kyle Trask and Emory Jones. Both have been told they're going to be able to play. But Tennessee is going to be a team that's coming in, trying to get, a big dub, getting sick of what happened last year, trying to get that sour taste out their mouth. But I am looking forward to Tennessee and Florida. And Florida, for those who don't know, get to play during the day. I know you haven't seen them during the day in a long time. Actually going to play at 12 o'clock. Looking forward to it.
And I've been really impressed with John Grenard, the Louisville transfer,
Yes.
who really stepped up, especially
Absolutely.
with Jabari Zuniga banged up. Moving on down, number 8, this is a team that I was riding for before the season. I've been really excited with what I've seen so far. I think Jamie Newman is the second-best quarterback in the ACC, only behind Trevor Lawrence. Wake Forest, they beat the team that you had been really high on earlier.
I have.
I know you were hot on UNC.
I was on UNC.
Wake
and Mac
got the
Daddy.
win.
Listen, Wake got a chance to be 8-0 by the time they play Clemson. I mean, people not talk about them enough. And the thing about it is, Jim, man, Wake is one of those teams where they're going to fly under the radar. People are going to say, Wake Forest don't got a good football team. Or you might want to look again. I mean, when you talk about that Atlantic position, I mean, who's going to be that next up? Who's going to be the second best team in the ACC behind Clemson? I know it's a huge gap. I mean, about as big as it can get. But Wake Forest playing good football and deserve to be in the top 10.
On the other team that would be in that conversation probably is Virginia, the preseason favorite in the Coastal. They escaped Florida State last week by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, the thing. Listen. I mean, when you go back to that game, man, Florida State definitely had chances to go out there and win. But the other Bryce, he was able to go out there and put some plays together, kind of get that win. Kind of was in harm's way throughout the entire game. Florida State played scrappy football. I thought they had a chance to win it, but yeah, Virginia, man, another one of those teams, man, keeping on with them winning ways.
Then at 10, Mississippi State, they were up a little higher. They lost to Kansas State. They might have a little bit of a quarterback thing on their hands. Garrett Schrader, I know they lost, but he looked pretty good. They have an off week. Duke does too. Duke moves in to the top 12 with some losses elsewhere. I think Boston College dropped out. And then number 12, we had a lot of debate about this. I mean, I think everybody had a different opinion on who it should be. Ultimately, we landed on Miami, who has yet to win an FBS game.
Listen, Miami, was able to get a win this weekend. I mean, you thought they would have won the national championship. Manny Diaz gets his first win under his belt as the head coach. But Miami is still a team, real similar to, teams we've known that doesn't lack talent. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt, but they're going to have to put it all together. Sometimes it's 1 week it's offense, next week it's a defense. I think if they can put a full, 4 quarters together, they might be a dangerous team come ACC play.
And college football is really here. We're starting to get some marquee matchups. Teams are getting more into conference play, and Ben and I will be back each Monday to break it all down here on SouthernPigskin.com. This has been your Bud Light Southern Power Poll.